just like a black hole. But we're going deep in this episode of Beyond the Borderline with your hosts, Connor, Cam, Phil, and Ryan. And you can see we got two lovely guests today.
Let's go.
So I guess I'll do the intro today since I know these guys pretty well, maybe a little bit better than the rest of you guys. So to my left, or I guess everyone, this is the left. We got Mitch, who originally was one of my brother's buddies, but over the years spending time with him, became one of my buddies as well. And to my right, we got Roman. I like to refer to him as Road Dog. And we've been buddies for a while now. He comes from the States, and I think pretty much since he moved, we've been buddies here and there, and then over the years became better buddies. So this is going to be a two-part mini series, I guess, just about the lives and kind of the mentality. Both of these gentlemen are cancer survivors, and we're going to get into a little bit about their stories and kind of the life they live now and all that good stuff. So without further ado, I guess I'll let you kick it off, Roman, and let everyone know a little bit about you.
Sure, yeah. So I'm Roman, the Road Dog. You just call me Road Dog for the podcast. Fans call me Road Dog. So I'm American. Lived there for about 13 years. Grew up regular family, very religious. If we're faithful, I should say. Actually, no, start with religious because this will tie back later. So, just normal kid playing sports, everything, super athletic. Spent all the time I could playing soccer, lacrosse, basketball, whatever it is with my brother and my friends and all that. And school was always second, never really liked school. But if it came time to applying myself, I'd just whip it out and then it get done. But that was always my style.
Choice of words there.
Yeah.
I just whip it out.
Wait, that, yeah. I got it done. I just got it done. But yeah, so I was about 13 or 14, don't really remember, but we moved to Mantic out of the South. And it took a little bit of time getting used to, but met these guys, a bunch of good guys, and I got a solid core group of people that I love here, So super thankful for that. I'm trying to bridge this into with all these relevant pieces, bridge it into
I guess that's your origin.
Yeah.
I guess the focus today is going to kind of be on the start of when you found out, or maybe right before what your mentality was, what your priorities were, and then what happens when you got when you found out that you had cancer.
Yeah, we could also do just that quick intro, and then Mitch can give a quick intro of just an overview of who he is, and then we can go back to Roman for the
Sure. All right, why don't we go to you, Mitchy, then?
So Mitch, 22 years old. Like Rod said, known each other a long time. Actually, we all went to school together at am I allowed to say was high school?
No, we don't need people for your fight.
Yeah. Well, we went to the same high school and actually met Roman in the weight room. He's a year older than me, right?
Yeah.
I met him in the weight room, and of course, he mentioned he's super athletic, and guy wasn't even working out. He'd just go in and laugh at all of us because perfect genetics, and I'm doing barbell curls I'm Schwarzenegger, and this guy over here doesn't need to lift anything to run a mile. But that's where we met, and been longtime friends with the Crusher family through hockey and school and whatnot, and they they've been a great support group through the journey. We'll get to that later, but was born in Ottawa, raised in Ottawa, all Ottawa South, all the little towns. I've been moving all over since I was been to about 3 different schools, in elementary school and high school. But towns in Ottawa, you name it, I might have lived there.
And
And yeah,
Mitch is a little bit of a legend in the area too, and knows everybody.
Nice.
And
Nice.
I guess I should let everyone know too. You're gonna hear Mitch call me Botch and probably Ronan too throughout this. That's a little nickname that I have.
I actually
So,
felt uncomfortable calling him Connor there.
yeah, it's all good. So just so everyone knows, we can get into my nickname in another episode, but yeah, I have
Yeah,
a
we'll have
nickname.
to explore the origin of the Botch nickname at some point.
Oh, there's a whole that's about 4 episodes right there. But obviously, anyways, yeah. So
Nice.
guess
Well, welcome to the
welcome.
welcome guys. We just have to say,
Yeah.
obviously, thanks for
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
on.
Thank
And
you. Thank you very
Good
much.
to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Long time listening.
Yeah.
First time calling.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So I'm on, yeah. Yeah, why don't we kick it off, I guess? Get to the heavy shit.
all right, I'm ready.
No foreplay, we're just getting right into it.
So yeah, where do I start? So I think it was 2019 or 2018 or 2019. I don't remember at this point. It's all just kind of a blur. But I remember we were at baseline with like Evan and Devin them, and we had just anyone see how your mother.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so we just had a big sandwich and or a big
Nice.
sub. We just had a big sandwich and came back inside. And I just wanted to, sit down and kind of just be in the element, kind of just in the vibe. And because I'm very I came more into myself as like a super talkative guy now, I guess. Like, I mean, depending on my mood, but like sometimes I just will not shut up. But I used to be like super shy as a kid, older brother, so he would always do everything, and I was just in his shadow or whatever. So sometimes I like to just sit back, and just kind of observe. And I was doing that, and I just went to shut my eyes, kind of just stay peaceful, and just let my mind kind of run, right? So I just had this super regular train of thought. I don't even remember what it was, but I remember all of a sudden, just like out of nowhere, like boom, I just see as if my train of thought was a cloud. It just like evaporated, and there was this eye just staring like into my soul, and I was like, whoa. And it was just like it came like that and left like that. And I was like, and I opened my eyes and I was like, what the hell just happened?
Jesus Christ.
I don't think I've ever said this to any of you.
No, I've never heard this.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're tripping.
That's so that was my initial kind of thought. I was like, the hell is that? Like, what? Like, maybe I'm just, yeah, it was just a sandwich, man, it was just a sandwich.
One hell of a sandwich.
And, over the next couple of months, it just obviously stayed in the back of my mind, and I'm, still kind of thinking about it. And then I pick people's brains here and there, like, hey, like, I saw this a couple of weeks ago, just kind of like in my mind. And the weird thing about it is, it didn't feel like it was my thought, like I was like, this is because my train of thought was very, indirectly specific. It's just like any random, you let your mind run and it's just going. But all of a sudden, like that was not my thought. And it was just boom, it's in my head. It took over everything. And I felt very distinct feelings of judgment, but not condemnation kind of thing, like it was very, very direct and real, the feeling that I got from this eye. And I should describe it. It looked like a human eye with skin around it, but it wasn't human skin.
Oh, we saw a skin demon.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Like everything it was like black and white, right? Like so there was no color at all, but it was very human and very familiar. but at the same time, I had no idea what I was seeing.
Mm.
And I felt, judgment, but not condemnation, love, but a kind of disappointment, but the kind of, when your parent is disappointed in you because they know that you can do better, and wow, I haven't talked about this in so long that I kind of forget what.
Yeah, take your time, man.
So this eye like stick with you over a couple weeks and then
I still remember like everything about it.
Right.
But I never really, because my first thought was like, whoa, that was probably something like dark, I don't
Yeah.
want to,
Mhm.
I don't want to think about that. I'll just leave it there, like whatever that was.
You blocked it out, didn't
Yeah,
tell
I
me.
just
Yeah.
blocked it out.
Yeah.
But I always kept thinking about it, and I'd ask, different people if we were in some kind of deep conversation, I'd just like throw it in there, like, what's your take on this? And over time, it changed from being some kind of, just, or my mind's running, or oh, it's a sandwich, like whatever it is, like I became more serious because the more I thought about it, it was the same feelings that I got from the eye were the same kind of feelings that you get from a parent, and more
Right.
specifically a father, which then ultimately led me to believe that I think it was God. Not that the eye is God, but I think it was God appearing to me
right.
Like the kind of
before.
judgmental father type.
Yeah, because at that point in my life, I was really not getting it, like I was underachieving a lot. Like I'm a smart guy, but like I never tried at all in school, which is what I was kind of, trying to get to or bring that up earlier.
Right.
Just a segue to this. So like I never tried in school, not once, like I at that point I had done I did a year at U Ottawa, and I was flunking out pretty much, but I never got to the point where I did. But like I was, academic probation and everything. Like
So this is like the sign, like get your shit together.
Yeah.
Like it was like
Fair warning.
a vision or something like that. But it was like it's literally like a watchful eye that's like I'm watching you, like
Yeah,
figure it out.
Why is Sauron?
dude, that's actually wild. Yeah, that's what I would thought of, was like that scene when in Lord of the Rings when the eye is just like the full field of vision and Frodo's like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Black
Yeah,
screen
like-
and everything.
Yeah.
So did it clear like the
Awesome.
fog for you then? Like were you like,
Yeah,
time to get the
in-
shit
well,
on?
yes, but no. So the way that it did was because it never left my thoughts, and then actually later on, this is when I was already in chemo. I was curious, and I was like, you know what, like let me just look up like eye of God, like
Yeah.
see what comes up.
Mhm.
And if you look it up, and maybe you can show it or something when you guys come out with this, but if you look it up, there's a nebula in space that the Hubble got or something, some
Yeah.
satellite got a picture of, and it looks exactly like what I saw. And
Wow.
I'd never seen it
Fuck,
before.
dude.
That first
Really?
picture.
This one here.
I'd never seen that before. I was like,
Connor, can you send that picture to me? I'll include it in the final edit.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
for
looked
sure.
it up.
I'm
That's
just throwing
crazy.
I'm still on the screen, so those that are watching live.
That's
That's cool.
wild.
It reminds me of like this might be off topic, but whenever someone talks about like the entities that they see when they do DMT, it's not
Mhm.
like, it's kind of like a humbling experience, and it's kind of like this humility that we all need to like kind of get our act together,
Yeah.
Like it
This
could
could
be
have
like a
been
gesture,
like
it could be
the hormones in
that
your
nebula.
body.
yeah, no,
Trying to
yeah.
like something inside of you saying like a calling or like a sign or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Like the way I kind of look at it now is just like, I think the way that the sandwich affects your brain, is like because my mind was so open. I
Mhm.
think it was a really like, because I think if that just happened right now, that would freak me out. Like
Yeah.
that would freak anybody out.
Have you had a sandwich since?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, and it wasn't such an unusual thing. That's what's
Right.
kind of funny about it.
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, anyway, so that kind of sat with me as a kind of what I would see as a sort of like, what do you call it? Like a foreboding, like,
Mhm.
you know, like you were saying, like you gotta get your shit together, dude.
Like an anchor
because-
point to
Yeah.
transition
Yeah.
into.
Because
Like
then,
kind of an omen, like an omen of doom.
because then soon after that, like my next significant memory after that was like 2 or 3 weeks later, I just noticed a bump on my neck in the mirror. And I was like, huh, that's weird. You know, never thought about it again. Because
Mm.
I mean, you can probably relate to that. Like, it's just not,
Well,
you don't think, your first thought's not, oh,
Well,
it's cancer,
like, we're teenagers, we're invincible, right?
yeah,
Like
it's
Yeah.
an
we're
infection.
thinking about working out and getting drunk and what girls we're about to talk to, like
Yeah, like,
that's all that's on our minds, and
Yeah.
no, it doesn't even, not even the realm of possibilities could that happen.
like, I don't know.
This is a bump. It's gonna go away like in a week, and like
You look and you go, like, any bad symptom that is somewhat, would seem dangerous. It's like, okay, and then you turn the bathroom light off, walk out.
yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
good in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Just for the record, I have the exact opposite reaction to anything I see wrong on my body. I freak out immediately.
See, that's not bad though, because you might just save yourself,
Yeah.
like,
I guess I just have a really strong fight or flight reaction.
Yeah.
it's useful, man. Because so eventually, I let that ride out. That it's just an infection or something. Like it's a bite or something. I let that ride out for 5 months until it was literally the size of like a pong ball.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Like literally, like I was working at the bank at the time, and wearing collared shirts and sometimes ties or whatever. So I stopped wearing a tie gradually, and this is like it. This is how deep I was in my subconscious about it, that I was just like, I can't fit a tie. I just won't wear them.
Yeah.
Didn't think that, oh, like maybe this is bad, maybe it's getting worse. And I was like, shit, I just won't wear a tie. Like I still got shirts,
Mhm.
whatever. And then I couldn't button the shirt, like 2 buttons down, and I'm like, huh, this is, maybe I'll call my doctor. Yeah, I'll call him like next week. And then I actually did that. I waited a week to call my doctor, and then I remember the office got back to me and they were like, yeah, he's on vacation, but you can call back. And I was like, see, they're not even answering the phone. Like, it's not even a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I walked downstairs without a shirt one day, and my mom's like, she literally dropped what she had in her hand. She was like, what is that on your neck? And like eyes wide as hell. And I was like, I don't know. Like in that moment, that was the first time I actually thought about it seriously, because it's like she broke the haze that I had,
Mhm.
like over my eyes about it. And I was just like, I don't know, man. It's been there for like half a year at this point. And she was like, you idiot, Leon. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? You're going to the doctor right now.
Oh,
I'm
man.
lucky to have an uncle who's a doctor. So she was like, you're gonna call him up right now. You're not going to school. You're gonna see him right now. And I was like, all right. And I started freaking out about it, of course. But I'm also I'm very reserved and kind of chill in my nature. So like that lasted like 2 minutes, I'm like, all right, it's fine, So
Mhm.
I go to my uncle, and he they get down, they start to like feel around your neck or whatever, and he's like, yeah, okay. So like when did you first notice it? And he goes and gets up and moves through his drawers, and I'm answering his questions, whatever. And I see him come back with a ruler, and I'm like, that's not good. Like if he's going to measure it, that was when I first figured. I was like, I'm probably in some hot shit right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
much worse than I thought. So then he sends me on my way, and I think later that week he called me. I was on the way to school. I was about to step on the bus, and he called me and picked up the phone. He's like, I got the results, turned around, went right to the office, and now I'm freaking out for sure, because I'm like, I looked up, lymphoma on the internet and whatever, and
Mhm.
what it could possibly be, like at my age, whatever. So I'm driving to his practice. I'm frantic. I'm crying. I'm like, I I don't even get this stuff, man. Yeah, I haven't even like moved out of my house yet. Like I'm like 19. Like, I don't even understand life yet, man. Like I can't die. Wow. And I finally get there, and again, that lasted for 3 minutes. Which I'll put an asterisk there. I'll come back to that since there's a reason I stopped crying. But yeah, so I get to his office and he gives me the news, which I already figured, I was gonna get at that point. He's like, yeah, so it's most likely lymphoma. You're gonna have to get an X-ray, ultrasound, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, like, all right, like bring it on, let's go. And I was lucky enough with his help and my initial surgeon's help to get the process going pretty quickly. Like I think I was into surgery within a month.
Nice.
No, actually
80.
half a month. Yeah, it took me 2 weeks to get a biopsy and another 2 weeks to get into chemo, which is very fast for our public system.
Yeah, that's
no,
fortunate. That's
Mhm.
What was it like when you're going through chemo?
it was tough.
Like obviously it's really tough on your body. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people can see like physically it's pretty demanding, but like
For people that don't know, Rome, describe what chemo feels like. Like all of them are different. Some,
Yeah.
some the nurses will say, oh, this one, you might experience nausea, and some are like, hey, this one is
Yeah.
you're not gonna be back here for a while.
Yeah,
It's
we have
serious.
absolutely no conception of what
No idea.
that would feel
None,
like.
none,
So,
none at
yeah,
all.
dive into it if you want.
to someone that doesn't know, like
I mean, I can go into a lot of detail. Like it was so the interesting thing was actually well, I should say, so I had the golf ball here, right? And then another one which I said it was like the size of a grape here, like a big grape. And then same kind of size. I had a third one between my sternum and my lungs.
wow.
So right in that like thoracic cavity there. And then well, it started that way. So it changed later on, but I'll get to that. So within the first week, the biggest tumor went down like by half the size, which I was like, oh wow, like this is gonna be fine, man. Like
Mhm.
because when they first pulled me into the office, when they diagnosed me for real, they were like, so you have stage 2, what they call stage 2A lymphoma, which I don't know what that means, whatever. Okay, it's cancer. So they're like, okay, we're gonna put you in 4 to 6 months. You're looking at 4 right now. You're young, you're healthy, so we're gonna give you more aggressive chemo for a short amount of time. Hopefully you'll be in and out. So I was like, okay, 4 months, that's fine. Like Panda Games in September, I could still make Panda.
Priorities.
This is how kind of delusional you get with stuff like this, because you're not maybe with the exception of you,
Ryan.
but I'm just so like, this is fine. This isn't bad. Like I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be fine. I'm just gonna be in the hospital, in and out for like 4 months, and then we can go get drunk at the football game. Like it's not thinking of how it's gonna affect me at all in my life.
Mhm.
But anyway, so I get there the first time and they're giving you all kinds of pills. I was taking like 6 pills or something, all steroids. And I get in and the first bag, I think it was like just kind of like a general one. But one of the weaker ones. So what it feels like fire is going through your veins. But the degree of fire varies. Like it's just hot and it doesn't feel good. Like it just stings, it hurts. One time they missed my vein and they put it in my muscle by accident.
Oof.
And like for a good 5 minutes, there's just chemo drugs being pumped in my muscle, which can screw it up for good. And I'm like, this hurts a lot. So I called the nurse over and she's like, oh my God, I messed up. Sorry.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's just
Probably felt like an eternity.
Yeah. It didn't feel good. So, but yeah, so I did 4 bags, the worst of which was on my heart. That one felt pretty bad because you could feel it obviously coursing through your veins, but you could feel it in your heart, like it just it would get hot and like literally like you're over a stove kind of hot, you know, like just pure heat against like your thin skin, that kind of sensation.
Wow.
Which there's no wonder why they gave me so many drugs, right? So one time I forgot to take one out of the 6 drugs. And this one is it's called Zofran. They literally use it's so strong they use it for women in labor. And I didn't take this one drug. And I spent the next 3 to 4 hours. Actually, chemo was 3 hours. So I spent the next like 5 hours being like green and just dry heaving and throwing up like nothing because I had nothing in my body. And just like my body's just freaking out, like, get this out now. And
Jesus.
I literally exhausted myself doing like just like fucking whatever it is, like throwing up, like worse than that, you know, to the point where I just knocked myself out. Like I just went to sleep for the next like 2 hours.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like a truck hit me. That was the worst one by far.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, I can go into a little more detail, but I don't want to like talk for too long too. Like
We got 10 minutes left in the episode, so
true, yeah, I can.
I don't know if you want
Yeah.
to. Well, you can finish
You
it
know
up.
what? If
Like
you
we
want,
can.
if you, Connor, we can let Mitch start, and then when we start the next episode, we can just quickly jump into the rest of whatever Mitch's story he has to tell, and then the remaining part of the episode we can talk about.
Yeah,
the
we
mindset
can
stuff.
continue, and then we can talk about mentality and perspective after. So yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, if we have to like
I know
go,
Yeah.
still got a lot to like.
Yeah, well,
Unlock
I'll
it.
say like one thing to kind of wrap up me in the hospital was so that's how kind of 4 months went, and then I went back twice for just PET scans, you know, like checkup scans, and it turned out that I had another tumor growing in my lung. So
my God.
now I have 4 tumors, and one's in a different system, which now makes it stage 4. So now I'm 19, stage 4 cancer, half a year. I'm not making the football game. You know,
Oh man.
it's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So we'll get into. I guess we'll get into like your like what you're feeling the whole way through, and then like you know what comes after. But that's in the next episode. But we'll start Mitch's story, and we'll continue it into the beginning of next episode.
Sees me
Yeah.
on that stage 4 and I'm going, I got a whole
Wait a minute, we gotta get views for next episode, you know.
Yeah, but Mitch, don't feel the need to rush because if we go over time in the next one, we can just add on. Like we can
We can make it a multi. Part 3, part 4. Like we don't want to rush you guys. And this, I think this is important stuff to get out there. So
Sure, yeah.
say what you need to
So
say.
I was 16 when I was diagnosed. I was in grade 11, and I was really big into health and fitness. I was going to the weight room every day after school. And I remember my buddies were telling me like, Mitch, you're pale, you're sick, and like giving me like complete shit, like just busting balls and whatnot, you know. And I'd take it like, yeah, I know something's wrong. We want me to tell you, I got a flu. All right, fuck off, will you? And I remember it got to the point where I was so pale, you know, people that went to high school could probably remember. But the vice principal came up to me, right? And she was so cool, right? I remember how cool she always was, like very real. And I'm walking in the hallway, she goes, Mitchell, is it? I'm like, yeah. She goes, you look really pale. I'm like, oh, thanks, Paul. I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? And she's like, no, like you need to go to the doctor. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think it was a Thursday, right? And then I went to the doctor on Friday. The doctor took one look at me after waiting. It was on Remembrance Day. It was November 11th. He took one look at me after, you know, I'm in the waiting room for an hour, and he goes, I'm sending you to Chio. And I went, man, like, no. What the fuck, man? No, I don't want to be in the waiting room there for
What an inconvenience.
yeah, for like 8 hours, you know. And he said, you're not going to be in there for 8 hours. So he knew immediately, right? And he wrote this note down. He said, I'm going to fax this to the emerge or whatever. You walk right in, they'll take you. I said, okay. So we go into Chio, me and my dad. You know, my dad's taking me, can't drive yet. go in and they bring me into this isolation room immediately.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, this is strange. And they take blood, and I've never experienced up until that point, I had a few broken arms. I've never seen people dress up in radiation suits and whatnot and come into the room and take blood. I'm like, what is going on, right?
Jesus.
Oh
And then they
my.
took
Wow.
blood and then they left. And 20 minutes later, this nice guy, I still remember how he looked, still remember the room, still remember everything, every little detail about the room. It's crazy. Can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. Fuck. I remember that room. And he sits down and he goes, Mitchell, this is gonna come as a shock to you, but we think it's leukemia. And I laughed. I'm like, come on, fuck off. Like, you're joking, right? Like, I'm 16. Like we were talking about, like, no,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
it's
impossible.
not possible.
Uh,
And he's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, dude, I weight train. Like
Healthy.
I'm a healthy kid. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he goes, and I remember him saying, like, you're gonna have to put that on hold for a little while. And then
Wow.
the whole room kind of just went fuzzy. Like remember seeing pixels, like I was gonna faint. Like
Yeah.
I could hear like distortion in my ear. I'm like, okay, I'm all right. I'm all right. All right, now what? And then they didn't let me leave. They brought me up to the 4th floor in the hospital, started giving me, I think my oxygen, a regular hemoglobin for, a human is about anywhere from 120 to 145. That's regular red blood cells. Mine was at 48.
Oh
Right.
wow.
So that's why I was so pale, because they were just wiping out my, like the leukemia, the blast cells were just eating up all my good cells, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, they gave me, I think, 3 blood transfusions that night, and we started chemo a few days after. We're like, we need to get a hold of this. The blasts were at about 98%. So yeah.
Wow.
I remember asking my aunt, who's a nurse practitioner, so I'm like, how long did I have left? She's like, not long, bro. Oh, really? Okay. All right, thanks.
Wow.
Yeah. But the way I kind of skipped over the symptoms and how it started, well, other than being just pale, I was having a lot of night sweats. I'd wake up, I'd come home from school, I'd go straight to bed. I didn't think anything of it. Like, you're 16, you're fit, that you're healthy, yeah, I was having night sweats. I couldn't
Would you sleep like
sleep for like 14 hours.
when you got home
Yeah.
from school? You'd sleep
Sleep
until
and-
school the next morning.
Yeah, right till the next morning. Skip dinner, Anyways, so chemo lasted about a month in the hospital. Didn't work at all. They put me on a new trial drug called Blino, a lot of vowels, don't even remember. And that worked. That put me in remission. And it was so much different than chemo, because chemo makes you feel like shit, makes you look like shit. Everything about chemo is shit. It's poison in the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like every day you wake up with the worst hangover ever.
It's
And
literally.
it literally, and again, until you go to bed, you still have that same. It's a hangover that never goes away. Bad flu that never goes away. That's what it feels like. You have the flu all the time. You can't eat, can't do nothing. There's pills to help you, but that's it, right? And that lasts for weeks and weeks on end. And now this new drug had no side effects whatsoever. Felt great. And that drug got me into remission. And I had my bone marrow transplant in 2017, Canada Day. I remember. So Remembrance Day diagnosed, and then Canada Day rehabilitated. So
Wow.
yeah, that was the first diagnosis. And then the second one, how we doing for time? Am I good or?
We got
Yeah, a
2 minutes
couple
left in
minutes.
this episode.
2
So
minutes left.
yeah,
All right.
for those of you guys that don't know, Mitch has had cancer multiple times. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can start that and then
Two title defenses currently.
Nice.
2 title defenses.
Let's go.
Cheers to that.
2-0
Yeah,
right now.
cheers to that.
Go.
2-0.
That's awesome.
You know what? Let's end it right there and start the next episode right here.
All right, we'll get
That's a good
going
spot for
in
me
the
to edit
second
it.
episode. So remember, everyone, next week, the next episode, we're continuing on the conversation. We're gonna finish off Mitch's story and then get into the mentality and all that good stuff. And this might end up turning into more than just a 2-part. It might be a 3 or 4-parter. So we'll roll the punches and go from there. Make sure to like, follow. If you like these stories, comment, let us know. Maybe you got a story of maybe not as extreme as this, because I think this is pretty wild, and not a lot of people our age have dealt with the stuff that you guys have dealt with. But
Right.
if someone's got a story crazy like this, please let us know. We'd love to have you on. Tune in next week, and remember to take care and brush your hair.